Give me that old-time religion, give me that old-time religion, give me that old-time religion, Lord, it's good enough for me. It was good for the Hebrew children, good for the Hebrew children, it was good for the Hebrew children, Lord, it's good enough for me. We will pray for Paul and Silas, it was good for Paul and Silas, good for Paul and Silas, and it's good enough for me. We will pray to those old druids who drank fermented fluids, walking naked through the woods. They're good enough for me. We're at Ruth. This is Ruth. Baby Ruth. I say baby because it's a candy. I also say baby because it's a very short book of the Bible. I think it's the shortest one. Female erasure here. Not really, though, because this is actually probably the most forward thing in the Bible so far in terms of women. We got interracial marriage. We got freaky sexual stuff. We got not the anointed tribe people marrying into the tribe. We got feet fish. Possibly even like lesbian stuff. This is a fun little couple pages, but there's no way I can make it an hour. Unless I just sing Old Time Religion for like 50 minutes, which I was going to do. I think some of these are just not going to be very long. Happy Sunday morning. This is my favorite time of the month, of the week. I enjoy Sunday morning. Every day for all I care. I'm not scared. Light my candle in a daze because I found God. Ruth, 306. What do you got, Ruth? What do you got for us? We just did Judges. Judges was kind of intense. This is a nice break from the intensity. It's like a little love story. There's nice stuff in here too. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in the not so nice stuff. There's a lot of important stuff in the not nice stuff. But this is one of the most kind of just palatable. Yeah, 4 pages. I could make it 10 minutes. How many minutes should I make it, guys? I mean, nobody cares or watches. But how many minutes I make it determines what I'll have to do in other ones. I think this is kind of an anomaly, though. I don't think there's other, like, 4... I don't know. I just read up to what I have to read. Anyway, we'll take our sweet time with Ruth. Because they're supposed to be an hour. But this will not be an hour. Unless I actually do the thing. All right, we're going to read Ruth. Sorry. Elimelech, family goes to Moab. So Elimelech's family goes to Moab. This is the Book of Ruth. So yeah. We got a song from Deb. Now we're going to read the Book of Ruth. Elimelech. Okay. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife was Naomi. And the names of their 2 sons, his 2 sons, I guess they weren't. Yeah, his 2 sons. They probably were Naomi's kids, but they're just calling it his sons, were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in Judah. Okay, so they were Ephrathites. I guess that's from Ephraim. They went into the country of Moab and remained there. But Elimelech, the husband of Naomi, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. These took Moabite wives. The name of the one was Orpah, not Ophrah. No Oprah. Orpah, and then Ophrah is a different person. The name of the other was Ruth. They lived there 10 years, and both Mahlon and Chilion died, so that the woman was bereft of her 2 sons and her husband. Okay, she's a widow, kids died. Naomi and her Moabite daughters-in-law. Then she started with her daughters-in-law to return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab the Lord had visited his people and given them food. So she set out from the place where she was with her two daughters-in-law, and they went on the way to return to the land of Judah. But Naomi said to her two daughters-in-law, "Go, return each of you to your mother's house, to her mother's house." Okay, so they're the kids, their daughters-in-law, and she's saying, "Go to your real mom's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you. You have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant that you may find a home, each of you, in the house of her husband." Then she kissed them, and they lifted their voices and wept. Lifted up their voices and wept. It's directional lifting of their voices up to probably God. And they said to her, "No, we will return with you to your people." Okay. So they said, first she says to go to your mom's house. Then she says to go to your husband's house. Maybe the husband's house is the mom's house. She's the in-law, but wouldn't those be separate? Anyway, Lord grant that you may find a home, each of you in the house of your husband. And then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voices and wept. They said to her, "No, we will return with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Turn back, my daughters. Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb, that they may become your husbands? Turn back, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say, I have hope, even if I should have a husband this night and should bear sons, would you therefore wait till they were grown? Would you therefore refrain from marrying? No, my daughters, it is exceedingly bitter to me for your sake that the hand of the Lord has gone forth against me." Then they lifted up their voices and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. Lots of women kissing. It's kind of cool. She said, "See, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law." But Ruth said, "Entreat me not to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go. And where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. May the Lord do so to me, and more also, if even death parts me from you." And when Naomi saw that she was determined to go with her, she said no more. That's a beautiful paragraph here. Your people, my people. Where you are, I will be. Your God, my God. When I die, there will I be buried. This is like unconditional love here. So the two of them went on until they came to Bethlehem. And when they came to Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them. And the woman said, "Is this Naomi?" She said to them, "Do not call me Naomi. Call me Mara." That's interesting if you've read other stuff about what Mara is. "For the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me." Yeah, she killed all your family. "I went away full, and the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi, when the Lord has afflicted me, and the Almighty has brought calamity upon me?" Shots fired at the Lord here from a woman. This is awesome. So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess. Okay, so she's not a Moabite, she's a Moabitess. Her daughter-in-law with her, who returned from the country of Moab. They came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. Ruth meets Boaz. Now Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's man of wealth. Naomi had a kinsman, a man of her husband's, a man of wealth of the family of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth, Moabitess, I have trouble pronouncing that. Ruth the Moabitess said to Naomi, "Let me go to the field and glean among the ears of grain after him in whose sight I shall find favor." And she said to her, "Go, my daughter." So she set forth and went and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And she happened to come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was in the family of Elimelech. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem. And he said to the reapers, "Don't fear the reaper. All our time has come. Fear, but now they're gone seasons. Don't fear the reaper. Don't do the sun and the wind and rain. We could be like they are. Come on, baby. Don't fear the reaper. We'll be able to fly. Baby, I'm your man." That's what Boaz should say. Just say, "Ruth, baby, I'm your man." The Moabitess. "The Lord will be with you." That's what he said to the reapers. Boaz came. He said to the reapers, "The Lord will be with you." They answered, "The Lord bless you." Then Boaz said to his servant who was in charge of the reapers, "Whose maiden is this?" The servant who was in charge of the reapers answered, "It is the Moabite maiden who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab. She said, 'Pray, let me glean and gather among the sheaves after the reapers.' So she came, and she continued from the early morning until now, without resting even a moment." And then Boaz said to Ruth, "Now listen, my daughter, do not glean in another field or leave this one, but keep close to my maidens. Let your eyes be upon the field which they are reaping, and go after them. Have I not charged the young men not to molest you? And when you are thirsty, go to vessels and drink what the young men have drawn." Then she fell on her face, bowing to the ground, and said to him, "Why have I found favor in your eyes, that you should take notice of me when I am a foreigner?" But Boaz answered her, "All that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband has been fully told to me, and how you left your father and mother and your native land, and came to a people that you did not know before, left his native country and his darling girl behind. The Lord recompense you with for what you have done, and a full reward be given you by the Lord, God of Israel, under whose wings you've come to take refuge." Then she said, You are most gracious to me, my lord, for you have comforted me and spoken kindly to your maidservant, though I am not one of your maidservants." And at mealtime Boaz said to her, "Come here, eat some bread, dip your morsel in the wine." So she sat beside the reapers, and he passed to her a parched grain, and she ate until she was satisfied. She had some left over. She had some leftover. She had a little parched grain still. When she rose to glean, Boaz instructed his young men, saying, "Let her glean even among the sheaves. Do not reproach her, and also pull out some from the bundles for her, and leave it for her to glean. Do not rebuke her." So she gleaned in the field until evening. Then she beat out what she had gleaned. It was an ephah of barley. She took it up, went into the city. Took it up and went into the city. She showed her mother-in-law what she'd gleaned. She also brought out and gave her what food she had left over after being satisfied. And her mother-in-law said to her, "Where did you glean today? And where have you worked? Blessed be the man who took notice of you." So she told the mother-in-law with whom she had worked, and said, "The man's name with whom I've worked today is Boaz." Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "Blessed be he by the Lord, whose kindness is not forsaken the living or the dead." Naomi also said to her, "The man is a relative of ours, one of our nearest kin, And said, Ruth the Moabitess said, Besides, he said to me, You shall keep close my servants till they have finished all my harvest. And Naomi said to Ruth, her daughter in law, It is well, my daughter, that you should go out with his maidens, lest in another field you be molested. So she kept close to the maidens of Boaz, gleaning until the end of the barley and wheat harvests, and she lived with her mother-in-law. Okay, so they want her to. They're like, you're a good person. You should marry one of her things, even though you're from a different tribe that was forbidden to marry a couple chapters ago. Chapter 3, Ruth and Boaz, the threshing floor. Let's go to her. My daughter, should I not seek a home for you that it may be well with you? Now is not Boaz our kinsman, with whose maidens you were? See, he is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. Wash therefore, and anoint yourself, and put on your best clothes, and go down to the threshing floor. But do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. But when he lies down, observe the place where he lies. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down, and he will tell you what to do. And she replied, All that you say I will do. Yeah, his feet. Those feet, right? So she went down to the threshing floor and did just as her mother-in-law had told her. And when Boaz had eaten and drunk, his heart was merry. He went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. Then she came softly and uncovered his feet and lay down. This is like romance novel stuff, guys. This is so like sensitive and like, they should have more women books. This is cool. At midnight, the man was startled and turned over, and behold, a woman lay at his feet. He said, Who are you? She answered, I'm Ruth, your maidservant. Spread your skirt over your maidservant, for you are the next of kin. Yeah, and he said, May you be blessed by the Lord, my daughter. You have made this last kindness greater than the first. And in that you have not gone after young men, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you all that you ask. For all my fellow townsmen know that you are a woman of worth. And now it is true that I am near kinsman. I'm a near kinsman. So I'm like we're not the same tribe, but we're like, we know each other. Yet there's a kinsman nearer than I. Remain this night. In the morning, if he will do the part of the next of kin for you, well, okay. He will do the part. There's a kinsman nearer you than I. Remain this night. In the morning, he will do his part of the next of kin for you. Well, if he will do it well, let him do it. But if he's not willing to do the part of the next of kin for you, then as the Lord lives, I will do the part of the next of kin for you. Lie down until the morning. The part of the next of kin. So she lay at his feet until the morning, but arose before one could recognize another. And he said, Let it be known that the woman came to the threshing floor. And he said, Bring the mantle you are wearing and hold it out. So she held it, and he measured out 6 measures of barley, laid it upon her. Then she went into the city. And when she came to her mother-in-law, she said, How did you fare, my daughter? Then she told her all the men had done for her, saying, These 6 measures of barley he gave to me. For he said, You must not go back empty-handed to your mother-in-law. She replied, Wait, my daughter, until you learn how the matter turns out, for the man will not rest, but will settle the matter today. Is this Boaz? Because she's calling her a daughter. Maybe it's like a term of endearment. Like, I'm taking care of you. I don't know. Might be something sketchier with the thing of like you didn't lay with the young, and she was talking about having her daughters marry these people when they grow up, marry the other kids. Like if they have sons, they would be the anyway. But she's just a kind, virtuous person, this Ruth, and Boaz is looking out. This is like the most wholesome part of this text so far, I think. The marriage of Boaz and Ruth. And Boaz went up to the gate, sat down there, and behold, the next of kin with whom Boaz had spoken came by. So Boaz said, "Turn aside, friend, sit down here." And he turned aside and sat down. He then took 10 men of the elders of city, 10 men of the elders of the city, men of the elders of the city. I think that means just the elders of the city, these 10 men. But it says men of the elders of the city. So they might be men that are appointed by the people in charge of the city, said, "Sit down here." So they sat down. Then he said to the next of kin, "Naomi, who has come down here?" Oh, no, sorry. I just read the same line. "Naomi, who has come back from the country of Moab," Naomi has come back from the country of Moab, "is selling parcel in the land which belongs to her kinsman Elimelech. So I thought I would tell you of it and say, buy it in the presence of those sitting here and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, redeem it. But if you will not, tell me that I may know, for there is no one besides you to redeem it. And I come after you." And he said, "I will redeem it." Then Boaz said, "The day you buy the field from the hand of Naomi, you are also buying Ruth, the Moabitess, the window, the okay, the Moabitess. You're buying Ruth the Moabitess, the widow, not the window, the widow of the dead. Her husband and kids are dead. That is true. In order to restore the name of the dead to his inheritance." Okay, restore the name of the dead to his inheritance. You're buying her. So this is a dowry. Then the next of kin said, "I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I impair my own inheritance. Take my right of redemption, for I cannot redeem it." Now this was a custom in the former times of Israel concerning redeeming and exchanging. To confirm a transaction, the one drew off his sandal and gave it to another. And this was a manner attesting in Israel, a manner of attesting. So they would give a shoe, and then that was the transaction. I mean, they didn't have much; they just had these sandals. So when the next of kin said to Boaz, "Buy it for yourself," he drew off his sandal. Then Boaz said to the elders of all the people, "You are witnesses this day that I bought from the hand of Naomi all that belonged to Elimelech and all that belonged to Chilion and Mahlon with a shoe." That's pretty cool. You used to just give somebody a sandal and then you owned them or married them or both, because that's what marriage is. "Also Ruth the Moabitess, the widow of Mahlon, I've bought to be my wife, to perpetuate the name of the dead in his inheritance, that the name of the dead may not be cut off from among his brethren. And from the gate of his native place, you are witnesses this day." Then, can I get a witness? Then all the people who were at the gate and the elders said, "We are witnesses." I can get a witness. "May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your house like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the house of Israel. May you prosper in Ephrathoth, and be renowned in Bethlehem. May your house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah, because of the children that the Lord will give you by this young woman." Genealogy of David. So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. He went into her, and the Lord gave her conception, and she bore a son. So she did get a kid. She was worried that she might not get a kid, and she was hoping to get a son because she wants to marry it off and keep the name of her deceased former husband and children. Then the women said to Naomi, "Blessed be the Lord, who has not left you this day without next of kin, and may his name be renowned in Israel. He shall be to you a restorer of life and a nourisher of your old age. For your daughter in law who loves you, who has borne him, is more to you than 7 sons, has borne him." That's cool. Then Naomi took the child, laid him in her bosom, and became his nurse. And the women of the neighborhood gave him a name, saying, "A son has been born to Naomi." They named him Obed. He was the father of Jesse, the father of David. Now, these are the descendants of Perez. Perez was the father of Hezron, Hezron of Ram, Ram of Amminadab, Amminadab of Nahshon, Nahshon of Salmon, Salmon of Boaz, Boaz of Obed, Obed of Jesse, Jesse of David. This David guy, he's going to be important later. He's going to be king. I bet he just can't wait. No one's saying, "Do this." No one's saying, whatever that is. Gonna be a mighty king, so enemies beware. Brushing up on looking down, working on my roar. So far, rather uninspiring thing. Oh, I just can't wait to be do 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 do. Do 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 do. No one's saying do this. What amount of time should this be, guys? Nobody's here, so it's up to me. It's gonna exhaust my already scratchy voice to sing "Give Me That Old Time Religion" for 33 minutes. I think we're just gonna stop. I'll figure out how to do the algebra later. Love ya. Shabbat shalom. Praise be to Jesus. For it is in forgiving that we are forgiven, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Happy Sunday.